order the surrender.
How could it come to this? An army of rabble, peasants. Everything will change.
And it's that kind of mentality in which you have like, how dare you, YouTuber, you minion, you peasant, like something that was not of what I created. Like, hey, what's up you guys? So I'm coming to you with another video, and pretty much we're just doing a quick update with the Star Wars theory and Pablo Hidalgo and, you know, on Den of Nerds. So let's get into it. But first, of course, if you're new to my channel, what is up? My name is Mitch, Maverick Mitch. Hey Mitch, all the Mitches, and pretty much I like talk about what I talk about. So, current events, reviews, and pop culture within the scope of entertainment, culture, and purpose. So, TV reviews, social political commentary. Be sure to check out all those videos as you're finishing this video. Okay, so getting into the meat of this video, obviously I talk about current events, right? I talk about reviews, I talk about pop culture, right? And the reason why I bring this up, and really this shouldn't be any news, and obviously if you follow Star Wars Theory, he already has done updates, and me using this, the Den of Nerds and everything, that like, it kind of goes into it if you haven't seen it. By the time this airs, Star Wars Theory and Geeks and Gamers are going to do a live stream, but that's, so maybe something new will come up there. But I kind of want to dive into this because, like I said, I do current events, and this isn't big news, right? This isn't like the most groundbreaking news ever, right? Obviously, it's the most stupid thing for Pablo Hidalgo, a face of Disney story group Star Wars, whatever, to make fun of a Star Wars Theory, not even just anyone, just someone who is a fan of the thing. It just shows, it just so happens that Star Wars Theory is the top Star Wars YouTuber, like with 2 million subscribers, right? The reason why I want to get down to it, because this isn't counterculture, but it kind of deals with it in the sense that the people who are leading the Disney Star Wars, which is the Kathleen Kennedy legacy, not the Jon Favreau or Dave Filoni types, but the Kathleen Kennedy, the sequel trilogy types, you know, they really don't like the fans. Data Racer and Geeks and Gamers went into this more, like, Pablo, this is not the first time, this is not an isolated incident in which Pablo Hidalgo has done this, or anyone else. There is other people that made fun of Star Wars fans, and these are, like, again, the Kathleen Kennedy types. Again, not the Jon Favreau and the Dave Filoni types, right? And so the idea here is not necessarily that this is YouTube drama, this is Star Wars drama, this is toxic fandom or whatever, but the fact that there's an overlap with the SJWs and that it is authoritative. And I have used this in other videos that, you know, I did a video on how the cultural shift has shifted in which the left is more authoritative, right? And so this is kind of like ongoing with that, right? That you have these execs, you know, these storyboard execs, Pablo Hidalgo, who is in a position of power, and they don't care about the fans. They just want you to say, like, just consume what we give you, do not complain type thing, you know? And that's, again, that is very authoritative, and that's why there's an overlap when it comes to, like, all the social media, because the left has, the SJW types has infected, you know, pop culture, has infected the movies, has infected comic books, and all this stuff. And so that's why I want to bring this up, because there is an overlap in which I'm talking about, while I'm talking about like Star Wars, there's an overlap with the SJWs and how this whole cultural political atmosphere is going on. Also, real quick, I'll touch upon in my 1 minute clapback minute, you know, I mentioned like toxic masculinity and fragile masculinity and all that stuff. This is not indicative of it, or this is not an example of it, okay? So you have Star Wars Theory showing emotion, and that is not an example of fragile masculinity. I mean, like, everyone is, this is it, because fragile masculinity is a sense in which, I just want to explain it because, you know, for anyone who's like saying, hey, well, is this an example of this and that? You know, so fragile masculinity is someone who is not someone who can take their masculinity. If you say like, oh, you're not strong or you're weak, you know, that you're supposed to be, oh, you should have enough, your skin should be thicker enough to handle such criticism. And that's what toxic fragile masculinity is, and then toxic masculinity, where things like boys shall be boys and all this stuff. You know, I think this is more toxic as an individual than it is masculinity, right? So there's, even though they're guys, this is not like guys imposing their masculinity as in toxic. It's just an individual, in this case Pablo Hidalgo, being toxic as an individual, right? And so I just want to address those two things because I mentioned it in my 1 minute clapback, and I want to bring it up here. So that kind of wraps up at least my initial thoughts going into this video. I'll play the video with Den and Nerds, have some more commentary and everything, but I just wanted to illustrate, especially for my viewers, if I talk about like social political stuff, why is this video important, you know? Like, why is this conversation important? Like, obviously in the end of the day, it'll probably blow over by the end of the week and into the new year, but it's important to talk about it because now people are questioning and against, like, well, people have been questioning against the Disney Star Wars and the SJWs of Star Wars and everything, but I think this is more indicative of normal people, like, okay, we had enough, you had your turn, it didn't work out, and now, like, folks, like, let's cheer for what works and what is actual good storytelling and actual good world building and lore versus inserting SJW-ness into a franchise like Star Wars. So let's get into the video, talk some more.
Dude, how cute is that damn Grogu, man? It's just not fair.
Yeah, no.
He's so cute that I'm surprised Pablo Hidalgo hasn't taken underhanded shots at him.
So obviously, there's been some new current events, and I'm sure a lot of you are here for, you know, the scoop on Pablo Hidalgo and everything like that. I said what I said in the video. I mean it, and you know, I do think that everyone, especially people in, you know, high points of power, should be held accountable for the things that they say to the people who are really supporting their projects. I have seen that he did make a, by the way, he's been reaching out to me today. He reached out to me, you know, with a very loose email. Here's my number, call me. Lucasfilm themselves sent me an email, hey, there's a misunderstanding, we want you to call us. I haven't replied because I just haven't felt like there's really anything to be said. I feel like, you know, when you say things, it's out there and it's done. And for me, I said what I said in response to that. I gave Pablo, you know, 6 hours to explain what was going on before, you know, uploading anything, posting anything, jumping to conclusions. And when he got wind of that, you know, he posted the entire tweet, which, you know, was on a thread that was all about mocking me and making fun of me, as his Twitter banner. So I took that as, okay, well, this guy's really pushing, you know, he's really just doing something that's not cool, and he shouldn't be doing that to a fan, regardless of anything. So I made my video, and I stand by it. So that's that. And that's how I feel about it. I do realize that he has gone to apologize. You know, where was that yesterday? Where was that yesterday when he didn't post that on his, before he posted it on his Twitter bio? It just is weird to me. And then I'll show you guys on screen here. This is his actual Twitter. Okay, and then this is the one from yesterday. Look at the numbers of the followers and the following. It's still locked. He's just changed the name, and then here is the actual fake account that he's actually gone and supposedly, you know, he just rebranded or something. But it's completely not the real account. His real account is still here. It still exists. So for me, this is all just like, man, what are you doing? You know, it doesn't come off as sincere to me, and I'm not the type to just be like, okay, well, now that you reached out because you are, you know, who you are in establishment that I respect so much and has impacted me so much as a kid, I'm not just going to, you know, bend over and fall over and be like, oh, okay, sure. No, man, like, it's not cool. So I'm just happy that, you know, we're going forwards with Star Wars, and we have Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau who are helming this beautiful story and carrying on the legacy of George Lucas, and that's all I care about. So hopefully on to better days.
Just real quick on that note, I think, again, all of this is going to blow over by the end of the week. By the end of the new year, we're going to say, hoorah, happy 2021, and then move with our lives. Granted. So at least he is in the right moment. Like he is talking about this because it's still kind of relevant, and so obviously he's saying that. But like moving forward, like obviously we're getting new content and it's moving forward in a better direction. So that's the end game, right? That's what we should be focusing on. But I'm just using the time to dissect why is this important going into these discussions. So
what do you guys have to say about it?
I think the thing that I want to say, there's a couple of things I want to say. The first thing that I want to say is that I am very angry, but I'm going to try not to actually be angry when I talk about this, because I think if I were to just get angry, it would sort of dilute the messaging. It wouldn't allow for what I'm trying to explain to get across. So I'd rather actually explain why I'm so angry, but I don't know what's going to happen with this podcast. We'll see what happens.
Sorry, just real quick. I love Josh just because I love how he's very reflective. I like that he is willing to, like, this is live stream, so he's cognitive enough to know, like, I don't want to be so abrasive because I don't know how that will come across. And then he'll later say, like, hey, you know what, I may change that up and I'll just go on a full rant and be angry. But I like the fact that he can take a step back in the moment and be like, okay, well, let's take a calmer moment and see why am I angry about this. So I like his approach about this so much.
I might boil into it and I might get angry. And I think the main reason for me personally why I'm so angry is because right now Star Wars is sort of turning around, right? And we are in a much better place as a fandom. And that's awesome. And there are a lot of people that have worked very hard at Lucasfilm to create that, to make sure that that has happened. There have also been a lot of people that have worked very hard at Lucasfilm during the duration of the sequel trilogy that have had to deal with things and basically backlash from people that are either above them or just loud on social media that have caused waves between fans. Pablo, this is not even close to the first time that he's acted like this, and I have a couple of stories that I want to share. I have to keep things vague, but I actually do want to share some stories, because if it comes to literally talking about this man's credibility, I saw a lot of people trying to say, Pablo's a good guy. Pablo doesn't deserve this, but it's a misunderstanding. It's all just wit. It's all just dry humor. I 100% disagree with that evaluation. He has shown again and again what kind of person he is, and that is in the face of people at Disney that are literally going through some very hard times. Some people even losing their jobs, right? So I don't even want to get as fired up as I could about it. But I just think for this guy to be playing the kind of game that he's playing and being so careless when so many people have it so hard, and Star Wars fans have had it hard. And this guy, I don't know where I'm pointing here, this guy has literally done a better job at the public relations of your own fandom than you have. And not only does he not take a check from you, but you try to prevent him in some ways from doing all that he could. So it's frustrating to me on a lot of different levels. And I think people that are saying that it's not a big deal are not thinking about it. It is a big deal. That's what I think.
Okay, so again, I like what Josh is saying there. And it goes into why I think this is important, right? And like I said in the beginning, like it's not one thing that it is Twitter drama or whatever. It's the fact, and it's stupid, right? Like, why the hell would someone in a high position of Star Wars franchise, story group, whatever, do anything negative towards a fan? Like at the very least, you can do a thumbs up, you know? Like, there's been awkward moments where, like, I have, like, awkward, you know, it, like, when someone gives you a compliment, you're like, I didn't do it, you know, like, but okay, thank you, you know? But you wouldn't backhand that person, like, what the fuck do you think so, you know? Like, you are given such a hard compliment that, you know, it does not make sense. But if you're using the framework in which these guys, like I said, and maybe it's speculation, maybe it is just my analysis or whatever, playing off of Geeks and Gamers and everything, is that It is the level in which, you know, these people, you know, like Pablo Hidalgo, Kathleen Kennedy, like, they just want to have their agenda, their narrative, and we throw the things around, but they want you to accept it. They're like, we want you to love General Holdo, we want you to love Kelly Marie Tran, we want you to love Rose Tico, we want you to love these characters, we want you to love Rey Skywalker even though she's a bad character, you know, like, but we don't, you know, like, these are bad characters, they're not flushed out, they have no meaning, they're just inserted for your purpose, not for like the actual storytelling. So when it comes to like the Kathleen Kennedy types, like, for anyone to have a good reception of anything that is Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, you know, anything that is like the George Lucas, the actual George Lucas fans of Star Wars, they're like saying it in a like pshaw, you know, type of seat, like how dare you rabble rousers, the peasants, the like it's like the Patriot, like, I'm going back to the Patriot, like, when the Lord, the red coat British Lord, like, how did we lose against these rebel, you know, like...
Order the surrender. How could it come to this? An army of rebel peasants. Everything will change.
And it's that kind of mentality in which you have, like, how dare you, YouTuber, you minion, you peasant, like something that was not of what I created. Like, it is that level of elitism, or this level in which you are given this privilege. And I'll fast forward into what Josh says, like, Pablo Hidalgo is probably in a seat in which he has no power. Like, he just has a title and that's it. And so that's why he's kind of angry. So I kind of fast forward into that, and so yeah.
The real rub, I think, is that Pablo, from what I understand, and yeah, we're going there. Pablo, from what I understand, is more or less not really anybody at Lucasfilm. He's not really anybody at Lucasfilm. He's one of 4 people he shares the title with. He has a senior in his title because he's been there so long. But he literally is the same position as Matt Martin. He also has 2 people above him. You know? So it's funny because all of those people, here's the thing, my point is this. All of those people are now possibly having to deal with a bunch of stuff because of this guy. Because of what he said, because of what he did. And it's not just this time. It's been many times that he's done this. And other people have to feel... There are people right now that are super stressed out about this whole situation. And rightfully so, because it looks super bad. And I just say to everybody that there's literally only one person we all need to be pointing at in this situation, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I like to go back to what I was saying, in which Pablo Hidalgo, like, looks like he doesn't have much of a job. If we're taking Josh's words to be accurate and everything, like, Pablo Hidalgo doesn't have no job, right? It is Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and all of their team that's pushing the story forward. They're not even referencing anything of Pablo Hidalgo, and it's kind of funny. He'll go into like you can watch the rest of the video, but he mentions that Pablo Hidalgo had a hand in the sequel trilogies, and look how that turned out, right? And so, okay, so I guess, again, I just want to finish off that, you know, this, like I said, this is indicative, this is why I think it's important, right? Why is this situation important to talk about? And I'm going to just reiterate what I said earlier in the video, which is, again, this is the overlap. Like, if it's a Venn diagram, you have pop culture, Star Wars, right? And then you have SJW, right? And in the middle is Pablo Hidalgo and in this damn situation, right? Because, again, you have the SJW who want to insert their narrative onto the general audience, whether they like it or not, right? And then hostage is the fandom, you know? And this is it, you know? Like, the idea in which people of the Kathleen Kennedy legacy, they just want you to be at, like, they took the franchise that they didn't know anything about, right? and they just said like, hey, we'll do whatever we want because we will do whatever we want. We want to get rid of Skywalker, we want to get rid of Han Solo, we want to make General Leia the best general, even though like it wasn't played out as the best as you can. And I would love to see General Leia at the best, you know? It should have just been General Leia the whole time instead of General Holdo that we don't know anything about, right? And so, again, it's putting the fandom at gunpoint, saying like, do what we say, like what we say, consume what we want you to consume, and don't talk anything about it. And that's where I hate, and this is why it's important, because it's this Marxist ideology, and it's not out of nowhere, because it's out of like, this is, if you want to talk like fascism, this is it. You took over a fandom, you don't really care about it, you replace it just as much as the Marxists in the, so just as much as in like what, the Bolsheviks, they took over the farmland, they got rid of all the farmers, whatever, and then like they made themselves the farmers because the farmers had the, like the land rights, right? And like they just inserted people to become farmers, but they took over, like the farmers, they killed off the actual landowners, the people that knew how to do the job, and they replaced people to do the job, but they didn't know how to farm. So you just starve your whole country. And then this is exactly the same deal. You took a franchise that you thought was gonna make money like just by its name alone, which we know that it doesn't. Like, it's the fans that want to consume it, that want it, you know, the actual story. But we saw Solo lost money, we saw the last Skywalker, last like whatever, lost money. So again, the point is, you took a fandom that you didn't know, and you forced your agenda, assuming that the general audience is stupid just to consume it just because of the name Star Wars. No! And then again, having a person like Pablo Hidalgo coming in here saying like, who are you, YouTuber, to question anything and like anything that is the actual like Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni? Like, how dare you like their stuff when you've been hating Star Wars? If you hate Star Wars, you have to hate Star Wars forever. Like, you cannot like Skywalker, you cannot like the Mandalorian, you cannot like Grogu, everything that we didn't create. Like, they're just, everything is crumbling before their eyes, and it's for them to be like, how dare the fandom to like what they like. And so, whew, that was a good rant. Alright, so wrapping it up, I drove the point hard and everything, and even though I don't talk to this stuff to the extent of Geeks Gamers, Star Wars Girl, Neurotic, and Clownfish TV, but there's an overlap in which I like talking about this because it deals slightly with cancel culture, slightly with SJW, so I do like talking about these subjects. And so, yeah, let me know what you think. Add yourself to the conversation. Am I right? Am I wrong? What else do you think, along with everything that was mentioned here in this video and everything? And if you want to check out the actual video, I'll link it below so you can see it in its entirety. And yeah, just continue the conversation, let me know. And then again, check out their live streams, Geeks and Gamers and Star Wars Theory, so go ahead and check that out, and then see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. You can follow me in my Instagram at HeyMitchMitch. You can follow me in my joint Instagram at It's Mandatory Fun, where I do other videos with my friend Jed. I'm also on Parler, Maverick Mitch, and see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace, peace, peace. Be with you.